Hello, everyone. It is Friday, the 10th of May. Yep, 2024. Friday. And so much on the go. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to begin. My title's about Africa, and so I might start with that. But there's a lot of rumblings going around, and looking at the risk map, the risk assessments with my contacts and stuff like that. There's just a lot of things that are kicking off right now in and not just the Middle East, but also in Africa, not just Egypt, but in surrounding areas. Can't say too many names, but I'll say places like Niger and the Congo and Sudan and Egypt, like I was saying as well. Other areas in that region and further south, including South Africa. And this is all interesting just because like some of these areas border the Red Sea. This is a main shipping route, and obviously goes through the west coast of of Gaza, Israel, and also where the billions of dollars of oil can be tapped that Israel wants. That not just Israel, sorry, I'd say the oil companies. So it's not fair to blame it on a country. It is people that are I guess identifying their lineage with that country, but lobbyists and corporatists and currentists that don't care about the future of the world. And so, so there's like special forces and military bases that are confirmed now in areas where people are not supposed to be. And there are special forces from France. This is already known. This is common knowledge, open source. They even in Niger, like a year ago and stuff like that. And so there have been, and like it's common open source for anyone that wants to look at it. But again, no one's looking at Africa still, and different sport. And so even Russians now, there's more Russians that are in Africa in certain regions that Americans are operating in, and Canadians and other first world countries are operating in order to provide even for security for different companies, right, that are in these regions. And now there's more Russians getting hired, more Chinese people getting hired. It is what it is. It's just very interesting. And so there's actually people from different countries that are working in the same areas for competing for contracts and and things like that. And it's a very volatile area. Journalists are getting attacked and targeted. Politicians are, kids, like schools. That's been common now for, again, decades. And even with Cyprus, with supply shipping routes and stuff like that, and aircraft, but going into Gaza, but also going into Israel, right? And so providing aid only recently to Gaza, necessary aid, because like they're getting towards like famine levels, mass starvation, which is frustrating. And Israel, though, they're still supplying weapons and oil and stuff like that. So keeping this going, funding both sides is really annoying. And this is what these banking families do. And again, not everyone. There's a lot of amazing people that are in that group, but again, there's people that are doing stuff like this. People that are part of the military, pharmaceutical, industrial complex businesses that are profiting the most are the ones that focus on shares and stocks and profit and not societal outcomes, like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and General Dynamics and JP Morgan, because real estate companies and stuff like that are also heavily involved in this stuff as well, because they're the cleanup piece afterwards too, right? And during. And so, people need to pay more attention to this location, and with Israel and what's going on there and Palestine being the possible staging area, command post, or control center being utilized for to impact a possible World War III kicking off either in the Middle East, in Eastern Asia, end Africa. Very interesting stuff. And so that's just more developments in the last 48 hours that I'm concerned with, or other people are concerned with. And so, I just wanted to get that out there, and then talk about our Chief of Defense Staff, WWIII, who was on the record again saying that there was nothing he could do about grievances. And it's frustrating to him. And it's, why people still serving are giving me this information. And my question is, why is he not stepping down? Why is he not doing that, since he did that, forced other people to release even under 5F, which is a dishonorable discharge, even when they were pregnant. So again, with this woke diversity stuff, not really doing it when you're kicking out pregnant women because they don't want to get vaccinated, right? And that happened to a close personal friend of mine. Over 20 years I've known her, and I was talking to her last night. Sorry, not last night, the night before. And yeah, she's still in the courts. And then Helen Bruce as well, still in the courts. And so if captains go down with the ship, why is he not going down with all of these fucking brutal mandates that he imposed on people, even though he didn't look at any of the references that were given to him, didn't look at any of the data, review any of the data that was given to him before he made decisions or imposed his policies on the entire Canadian Armed Forces, and then subsequently, because of that, Canadian civilization, right? Because people target government first responder types first, the ones that are going to be the ones managing people that don't get things that they don't necessarily want to get, or and so these people are the enforcers. That's what they become. They become the enforcers. They are people that are in the fighting age group, literally. That's why they're serving, and healthier, again, younger, and less impacted by even illnesses and stuff like that than the general population, and so also would be less impacted by the vaccines. And so that's why it rolls out to those types or those demographics first. You have to be fit, you have to be healthy to varying degrees and all of this stuff just to get in the military. And so even with that, and then again, the age are things that that people should be factoring in, and you can't get in even with like certain allergies or certain health conditions, even like diabetes, for example. And so a large percentage of the population is not even fit to serve right now in our military. And so yeah, why is he not resigning dishonorably to show that he leads from the front and that he would go down with the ship? He's not. Yeah. And I know that that's not a popular opinion to a lot of people in my network and the higher networks, and I understand that, and I respect that. I do. And it's not to say anything against his career before that. Like, I've heard so many amazing things about him, and that's why it's more frustrating, because you would have expected a lot more from someone with his skill sets, his experiences, and what he's done for Canada before this, right? And so it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and this is what happens sometimes to people, and they should take accountability and own up and man up and resign. He's going to have this celebration and a fancy retirement party and all that stuff when he steps down. And so how is that even possible when he was mandating, again, people getting kicked out? And it's turned out to be that we were right. We were absolutely right. We weren't coming from any conspiratorial places. We were providing stats, data, measurable, observable, repeatable data showing the debunked original trials, giving this information even to the ombudsman as well, like you freaking name it, and again also to his email address personally, and his government address. But I personally sent emails as well, and no other people did as well. And so ultimately not the one that came up with the final decision to impose mandates on Canadians and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. That's Justin Trudeau and his cabinet members that voted for this, especially people that were involved in like emergency management and public safety, like Marco Menachino and Bill Blair. And these people, they're absolutely more responsible, clearly. And Bill Blair is the Minister of National Defense, and I've sent him stuff personally as well. And he is actually, and the Ombudsman would be more responsible than Wayne Eyre as well. Like I'm fully acknowledging that. But he is the figurehead. And Brenda Lucki was the figurehead for the RCMP, for example, as well. And she got to, again, like resign and no issues or anything like that, even though people were getting kicked out. And then even people like Helen Bruce still in the courts, myself as well, thousands of dollars and for bullshit and lies, and us like having to be forced to go in the courts in order to prove our innocence. It's ridiculous. And when in fact, the opposite is true. The people that are doing this to us are the actual criminals. And again, there's countless cases, Jeremy McKenzie and like the Coots brothers. Like that was the court trials are ongoing, and there are journalists and people that I know that are following this in Alberta. Actually, they're working it to report on it and what's coming out from the hearings. That's not surprising to me. It's what I was saying even at the beginning. But where there was a heavy influence of baiting and trying to get people to do things that they wouldn't do or say things that they wouldn't have said otherwise. And just like this stuff is really frustrating to me. And then also frustrating is I'm receiving information that Jenny Kerrigan is possibly the next CDS. And again, I don't hear, it's a mixed bag. I will say this is a diversity hire. I don't care to say it because there are a lot of people that are a lot more qualified than her to be the CDS right now. And we need someone that has experienced multiple deployments and the international forum, with actual experience, and she doesn't have it. And she's not tracking what's going on with a lot of things, with COVID, with Russia, Ukraine, with Israel, Palestine, with Afghanistan, so many different things she's not tracking. And so this is another thing that just it's unsettling, because we're getting another woke DEI hire that is going to push more of the narrative of this, or the script that's going to be like it's further collapsing our military. And then if there's any kind of a national event to respond to, like these dom ops that are being pushed, which I'm saying is it's also, there's red flags there as well. The OPP working with the military, like in Ontario, even for these dom ops, and this is all stuff where they're doing these wellness checks, and this is literally to, again, like just not plant the seeds, but like make us adjusted or accustomed to getting a lot of our freedoms taken away. And so, like, they have no business coming to my house, right? Like, why are you asking me questions about anything? You don't have no business being here, and because I'm not a criminal or anything like that, right? So like, there's no, and so it's just, and if there's any natural man-made disasters, we need to look at the precursors and stuff like that, because I've said there's a lot of events that have happened, and these are being planned by people that are exploiting us, right? So even with January 6th and 9/11 and the Freedom Convoy and countless other events, there are events that are being planned by people within government that are shitty human beings, okay, rooting it for the rest of the people in government, making them all look fucking bad, and then destroying the country in the meantime. And they're not getting fired, and they're not resigning, because they never resign. The ego and the narcissism is just too great. And yeah, they don't get fired. It's just so frustrating. It's just like the easiest thing to do, right? When you have so much information to do it, it's just yeah. Hey, flow state. That sounds familiar. Okay, I think I've looked at your channel. Anyway, sorry about that. So yeah, I'm going on all these. There's underground tunneling systems everywhere. Everyone's talking about tunneling systems in Gaza. Like, I've heard that again. And I'm showing that this is stuff that was even pre-Hamas, and that also IDF soldiers have utilized as well. And that I was talking about the crisis actors again, and how they were pretending that there were people, possibly in certain tunnels under hospitals and stuff like that. And then I proved that this is something that was not true. And even these facilities that were being used, they had not been used in a very, very long time, and they were actually being used like for storage and other things, just completely abandoned. And this was what was being used for these roles, right? For these scenes, these acts, with these role players. And I've even shown as well, like the background of where you see like alleged children getting shot and things like that, like or tortured. There's like media, and there's like multiple people in the background staging different things. You see the kid getting up and then going back down. And anyways, I have so many examples of that. So there's just so much misinformation out there. I don't even know where to start, but I've done videos on it. And so my YouTube channel, my earlier one, got zapped again. And so you're going to have to look at Rumble. And my title is either analyst or Don 189. I should change that, but anyway. Oh my goodness. And I was going to talk about trees, petrified trees today too, but like that's too much of another tangent. But anyway, what I'll do is actually I'll just show the risk map. And again, this is like, take this with a grain of salt. Not everything in here is accurate, but this is just some of the stuff I was looking at as well. For paramilitary forces have carried out ethnic cleansing in Darfur, rights group says. So again, this is not confirmed. This is rights groups that are saying this, and you can't trust a lot of them, including the UN in various capacities or various affiliations with them, people that work with them, and yeah. And so these are people that have been trained by other government agencies that have gone to Sudan and countless other places, and trained their military and their law enforcement and their higher level. And unfortunately, some of these people went rogue. And yeah, they're doing their own thing with a lot of advanced training that we've done, and Americans have done, and Brits for sure, and Australians, anyway, and French, and now Russian. Well, I mean, not now. It's been a while for that too. It's just people weren't tracking that as much. So this is Africa. So these events, there's different security, humanitarian. I took out the health and the hazards. You can do that as well. Miscellaneous. Anyway, you can go in and out, but you'll see that. Yes. Red Sea. Egypt. A lot of stuff going on here. So even in Lebanon and Jordan and other areas, are Damascus. It's being hidden, but that's Damascus. Anyway, West Bank as a strip. You got Iraq. Yeah, there's just a lot of things kicking off. And actually, surprisingly, in Portugal, too, things have been getting a little bit more interesting. Also an interesting route. Anyway, I'm rambling. So on that note, I will leave it at that. Short video today. Very short video. I'm going to leave it at that, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.